Gilbert Arenas and 5 other defendants, including a suspected high-level member of Israel transnational organized crime group, were arrested today on a federal indictment alleging they operated a legal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played.
Gilbert Arenas, once known as Agent Zero, the sharpshooter who could light up any NBA arena, is now making headlines again. But this time, it's not for his clutch threes or his legendary trash talk. Instead, Arenas has been arrested and indicted. Authorities say he was running an illegal high-stakes poker ring out of his Encino mansion in California. Not just a couple of buddies playing cards in the basement. We're talking chefs, valets, armed security, women serving drinks, even a custom poker table branded with his name. A full-blown underground casino. So how did one of basketball's most entertaining personalities end up here? Let's break it down. Gilbert Arenas wasn't your typical NBA player. Drafted in 2001, he quickly built a reputation for being fearless, clutch, and electrifying on the court. He became a 3-time All-Star and one of the league's deadliest scorers, dropping 60 points on Kobe Bryant's Lakers back in 2006. He didn't just play basketball, he made the game feel unpredictable. But just as quickly as he rose, his career began unraveling. Arenas was suspended for bringing firearms into the locker room during a dispute with teammate Javaris Crittenton. That scandal stained his legacy, leading to one of the harshest suspensions in NBA history. And though he bounced around a few more years, his NBA days ended in 2012. After retirement, he kept himself in the public eye. Arenas leaned into podcasting, social media, and talk shows. He became known for his unfiltered takes, clowning other players, cracking jokes, and owning the villain role. Fans came to see him as both charismatic and controversial, and maybe, in some ways, that unpredictability set the stage for what came next. Because behind the jokes and the online persona, prosecutors now say Arenas was building something else entirely. A secret poker empire. This wasn't your uncle's Friday night card game. Starting in September 2021, Arenas allegedly transformed his Encino mansion into a full-blown underground casino. Imagine pulling up to the gates of a multi-million-dollar home, valet parking your car, and walking into a high-stakes poker den with the kind of luxury you'd expect in Las Vegas. At the center of the action, a custom-built table called the Arenas Poker Club, branded with his name. Chefs cook meals for the guests, bartenders served top-shelf liquor, and women hired by the operation provided massages, poured drinks, and kept the atmosphere buzzing. And it wasn't just casual poker. The games were Pot Limit Omaha, a format known for its big pots and wild swings. Arenas and his crew allegedly took a rake from each hand, meaning they skimmed a percentage of the winnings. Over the course of months, those rakes added up to huge profits. To run an operation like this, Arenas needed a team, and that's where things get even crazier. Running an underground poker club isn't a one-man job. Arenas may have been the face, but prosecutors say he had serious backup. First, there's Yevgeny Gershman, described in the indictment as an alleged Israeli organized crime figure. Gershman's role? Handling the logistics. He recruited women to work the games, making sure the drinks flowed, the players felt comfortable, and the atmosphere never broke. But there was a catch. Those women were required to kick back a portion of their tips to the operation. It wasn't optional, it was business. Next up was Arthur Katz, who prosecutors say managed the property. He collected rent from Arenas and made sure the mansion was staged properly for each game. Think of him like the operations manager, keeping the venue pristine and ready for action. Then there's Yevgen Krachun, the chip runner. He tracked the money flowing in and out, handled the buy-ins, and paid employees. If you've ever seen a casino floor manager, Krachun was basically filling that role in this underground setup. Add in the hired chefs, the valets greeting players at the door, and the armed guards watching over everything. This wasn't a backroom hustle. It was a structured, professional, and extremely risky enterprise. And with that much money on the table, it was only a matter of time before the feds came knocking. On July 30th, 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice finally dropped the hammer. For months, federal investigators had been quietly building their case, pulling phone records, flipping informants, and even using surveillance to track the games. And when they moved with force. Federal agents raided Arena's mansion in the early morning hours. Witnesses said the quiet neighborhood was suddenly swarming with black SUVs, flashing lights, and heavily armed officers. Homeland Security investigators were seen carrying out boxes of evidence, including poker chips, cash, and even the custom table bearing Arena's name. They seized money hidden inside the master bedroom and confiscated electronic devices believed to contain records of the operation. For Arenas, it wasn't just a random search. It was the culmination of an investigation that stretched back years. Prosecutors revealed that the poker nights had been under surveillance since 2022, when Homeland Security received tips about high-profile celebrities attending secret games at the Encino mansion. Every move was documented, from text messages between Arenas and Arthur Katz about scheduling the games, to discussions about paying staff, to complaints Arenas made about players getting too drunk. The feds had it all. When the indictment came down, Arenas was hit with 3 major charges: conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, operating an illegal gambling business, making false statements to federal investigators. Each of those charges carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Stack them together, and Arenas could be looking at over a decade behind bars. And remember, these aren't state charges, where you might get a slap on the wrist or probation. These are federal charges. The feds don't file unless they're confident. Their conviction rate is notoriously high, often over 90%. Arenas, of course, pleaded not guilty. He was released on a $50,000 bond, but the conditions were strict: limited travel, mandatory check-ins, and zero tolerance for any further gambling-related activity. His trial was quickly scheduled for September 23, 2025, a date that now looms like a ticking clock over his future. And it's not just Arenas facing the music. His alleged partners, Gershman, Katz, Krahoun, and the rest, are all facing their own set of charges. Gershman, in particular, is in deeper trouble with accusations of immigration fraud tied to sham marriages. Prosecutors are painting the picture of not just a poker ring, but a larger criminal network, with Arenas positioned as both financier and frontman. What makes this takedown even more shocking is the scale of preparation by law enforcement. According to court filings, investigators didn't just rely on informants or text records. They infiltrated the games. Undercover agents attended poker nights, blending in with the wealthy clientele, all while documenting evidence. Imagine the paranoia that must have set in once Arenas and his crew realized the feds had been in the room with them all along. And that's why this isn't just another celebrity arrest. It's a federal showcase, a message. The DOJ isn't just going after Arenas for hosting poker. They're sending a warning. No matter how big your name is, if you build an illegal empire, they'll come knocking. The second the news broke, fans lit up social media. Some couldn't believe it. Others said, "Of course, this is Gil, always living on the edge." Memes flooded Twitter and Instagram, comparing Arenas' poker scandal to his infamous locker room gun incident. One comment read, "From pulling guns to pulling cards, Agent Zero never disappoints." On Reddit, one user wrote, "He had podcasts, sponsorships, fame. Why risk it all for poker? Feds don't miss when they indict." And yet, there's a strange layer of admiration from certain corners of the internet. Some see it as Arenas staying true to his chaotic, unpredictable brand. He always prided himself on doing things his way, even if it cost him. And now, even in trouble with the law, people are fascinated because, well, it's Gilbert. But fascination won't help in court. And while fans laugh and post memes, prosecutors are preparing to make their case. Here's the million-dollar question. Why would a millionaire ex-NBA star risk everything for an underground poker club? On paper, Arenas doesn't need the money. He earned over $160 million during his NBA career, not counting endorsements. He hosts a podcast, he gets media gigs, and he's still a recognizable figure in sports culture. So why do this? Some say it's about adrenaline. Arenas thrived on competition. When the NBA spotlight faded, maybe hosting these games gave him that rush again. Being the center of attention, the man running the show. Others argue it was about ego and control. On the court, Arenas was the leader. Off the court, hosting an exclusive poker ring might have felt like reclaiming that same authority. In his mansion, at his table, he was still the man. And of course, there's money. High-stakes poker with a rake isn't just entertainment. It's a business. Prosecutors allege that Arenas and his crew pocketed large amounts from these games. If true, that cash flow may have been too tempting to resist. But whether it was the thrill, the money, or the desire to stay relevant, it all came with enormous risk. And now, that gamble might cost him more than he ever expected. This case isn't just about Gilbert Arenas. It's about the larger pattern of celebrities getting caught in risky, often illegal behavior long after their peak. Why? Because fame is addictive. For some, when the lights dim and the cameras fade, the silence is unbearable. That's when trouble starts. We've seen athletes caught in scams, rappers tied to RICO cases, actors spiraling into legal chaos. And what happens every time? It becomes content. Podcasts break it down, YouTubers make videos, fans joke online, and the story takes on a life of its own. What was once private scandal becomes public entertainment. Gilbert Arenas' poker scandal is the perfect storm. A beloved villain, a wild setup, and the federal government stepping in. It feeds into the cycle. Scandal, headlines, reactions, memes, repeat. But beyond the spectacle, it's a reminder that fame doesn't protect you from consequences. If anything, it makes the fall more visible and more dramatic. So what's next? For Arenas, the trial in September will determine his future. If convicted, he could face prison time, fines, and the permanent stain of a federal conviction. Even if he avoids jail, the headlines alone may tarnish his reputation in ways that podcasts and memes can't fix. But Arenas has a history of rebounding. After the locker room gun scandal, he reinvented himself as an entertainer. After his NBA career ended, he built a new audience online. Some believe he'll find a way to spin this too, turning even federal charges into a storyline. Still, this isn't a joke. The feds don't indict unless they believe they have a strong case. And unlike the NBA, the Department of Justice doesn't hand out suspensions. They hand out sentences. So the big question is, will Arenas beat the charges and return as the ultimate comeback story? Or will this be the final chapter in the wild saga of Agent Zero? From NBA superstar to underground poker kingpin, Gilbert Arenas' journey has been unpredictable, messy, and unforgettable. He lived life on his terms, but now those choices may have caught up with him. And that leaves us with one final question for you. Is this another chapter in the legend of a man who never played by the rules, or the tragic downfall of someone who couldn't leave the spotlight behind? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we'll be following this story all the way through the trial.